So today I managed to make $186.72, as you can see from my screen right here. Today is the 27th day of August, and we have 2 trading days remaining in this month. So let's get right into today's market and see how I actually did. So as you can see here, I am still down $3,132. So still on the road to recovery. I managed to take a few trades today. A lot of these were partials. This one was this one where I got $185 here. Let me go to the charts and show you we are actually executing. So I started the day in Asia session. I took a buy and I actually closed it early because um I thought it was at the higher the range, and I was correct. I missed the entry from down here and I ended up taking it here and I went break even. That was my first trade throughout the day. I went to bed after. When I wake up in the morning, I see all of this nice setup running up, going up. In the morning, I took a buy here, but honestly, I kind of impulsively take this aside, setting up in the macro, and I say, yes, it's a strong area where we could reverse from. And I was just saying to myself that if it actually reverse from there, I'm going to try to take a buy. And it did give me a good push, maybe about 50 points. I would have made, that would have been 200 and change. 200 and change dollars I would have made if I had held it with my lot size that I took, but I ended up passing up because I thought it was a bit impulsive and I didn't accept the risk. So to there I would have lost about $50, and to here I would have made almost $200 there. I left a runner and it come spike me out here. I could have made some profit when it spiked up here, but I end up close. I took another trade. This is the real setup now. I waited for the New York 9:30 Judas swing and we spiked up, came back down. I waited until we came down. I was going to enter here, and when I saw it rejecting from this other block here and the fear value gap, I was saying maybe we're going to go lower. So I did not execute there. I waited when I saw this nice bullish engulfing. I saw this as a change in the state of delivery, and I still wasn't sure. So I waited a little bit more and I end up entering here. I got a nice push to about here before this thing started to reverse. So it spiked up and I was thinking, yeah man, hopefully I get a quick push. I was floating about 100 and something dollars, about 180 from this push right here, and it came right back to break even to stop me out. And I really shouldn't have moved my stops as yet, but it was right in the spike period. So I had my stops down here and I should have just left it. I re-entered up here where that should have been an add. You know, I wasn't thinking about the fear value gap that was holding right here. It really should have been an add here, and I made about $400 here, but I did not realize the gains before this thing come back down. And I was watching this fear value gap saying if we hold it, then we should be fine. But by the time I look, we got a nasty spike just slam down. It take me out break even for the rest of the run. I had like 200 and something dollars remaining on the trade, and I was really hoping for an expansion. Honestly, I didn't even want to partial. I wanted some more, but I just say, you know what, the safe thing would be to lock in some gains. And so said as soon as I close, you can see within seconds, this thing started to rip down. It took me out. We did a sweep. I didn't enter again. I waited because I said, no man, this so look like the same seek and destroy pattern. And I didn't enter again. We end up finally running these lows and we tap a little deeper into the fair value gap, I think that was the low of, was it? I think it should be the low of the, no, it wasn't the low of the day. The low of the day was made in London, but we tapped into this fair value gap from the previous session. This was from London session, and then we just turned up. So we did not come back to sweep this low, but I was already off the chart because I was in a little meeting, so I couldn't even execute this entry right here. I saw ICT literally bottom tick this year, and this is usually my entry right here once I get a flip. So I could have entered after we do this Judas swing. I could have entered um using this fair value gap, enter up here, and this thing would have been a nice expansion into the highs right there, you know. But it is what it is. I'm grateful for the little gains that I make, and I was disciplined today. I did not execute too many times. I was being keen with the risk management and all of that, and I just call it a day right after we had um that that spike right there. No, I just call it a day, but there were some good trades after. This one was a nice little scalp. This was during lunchtime, or even inside of here, or over here. We could have caught a nice little buy going up into the PM session. This was about one. So this is the 1 o'clock, and this is around, well, this is one going into two, this is two going into three. This was a nice open, pushing up to the upside and taking out the previous high right here. So nice John liquidity to target these highs, but you know, it is what it is. I missed out on all of that, and I just call it a day. So I didn't even get to look at gold yesterday, or today rather, but there were some good moves. Um, there were valid sell opportunities inside of here, and then now the buy is coming back up. Then these sells again, and I thought this here was very choppy inside of here. This was, I think, this is the macro open for, so 9 o'clock. So yeah, this is the 9:30 here right here, and then now we had a nice buy up going into the rest of the session. So this is 10:45. Yeah, some nice trades you could have executed here, but I'm not in the charts during these periods, so I can't even try to capitalize on any of these. You know, nice buy up going into the higher the day, all the way up here before rolling over. But yeah, that is how the day played out. Quickly, I'm going to look at the higher time frame chart. The daily close very strong today. We end up retracing. I knew this day was going to buy. We had Nvidia earnings, and they did beat the analyst estimates, and therefore we had this gap up from the overnight session, and we pulled back after. The first pullback was in Asia, then we did a deeper pullback in London, and we eventually flipped and bought up. So if I had gotten the entry in London, it would be inside of the low of the day here. And it's just nice how this price action just playing out. So we had a nice little OB right here, and we retested it, went up. We had another one inside of here, and we retested it today, and we went up. So we with another little gap here, and Friday should give a nice little run up. We have run this liquidity up here from the previous day. Now we have this one from, this would have been what, see where it's coming from. So this is from the prior week inside of this cell candle here. So this is the high from the 19th of August. So I don't know if we make it back up here by say tomorrow or Monday, but this looks like a nice drawn liquidity, unless we're going pull back again coming into this gap right here. But I don't think we need to come back there at this time. Even though we have a little bit of imbalance left, we could actually continue because this is a lot of accumulation. retesting these other blocks, retesting these other blocks, and we're retesting this gap, new day opening gap right here, and just run up. So we could get some nice continuations going up, and based on how we look, let me see how the daily looks. We could be curling back to go back to all-time highs. So this is the daily time frame, and as you can see, we came to equilibrium of this range and we held this fair value gap right here. So unless we're going to reject from this supply OB right inside of here, or the breaker that we are currently in, we could curl back up. So this looks like a bullish candle. So this is bullish on the monthly time frame from the open right here. And if we close anywhere inside of here, I think for September could have a nice little pullback and then continue going back up into all-time highs. But let us see what we really get. It's the same thing on US 30. We are respecting this OB right here, and we could be pushing into new highs by September. And US 500, similar situation. We could be curling up, going back into all-time highs right there, and it is the strongest of the three indices that I'm currently watching. Looking at oil, we had a strong up close today. Spike down, take out the lows, came into this nice little order block here, and then we're pushing all the way back to the upside. And gold, we are rejecting and we are currently inside of a range and selling off. We took some minor liquidity right here, and therefore we are due for a little pullback. We could fill out this gap right here before we target any higher. So we took this liquidity right here. The currently monthly candle is actually green and very strong at that too. So we could get some further expansion going back up into 5,000 and change and thereabout. So yeah, that is how we did on the higher time frame. Quickly going down to the 1 hour time frame. This is the 1 hour at this time. Looking at Nasdaq 100. The price action not so clean on the 1 hour, but you could have caught some nice buys. You know, sell right here, buy right here, another buy right here, coming up to here. You could have caught the sell, but not my favorite. You could have caught a buy inside of here, another one here, and even right here, you could have caught another one for today. But it's all inside of a range right now. Nice little range. Seek and destroy type of price action, but there was still a trend to it because the upside looks more impulsive and looks like we wanted to maintain the uptrend. So yeah, nice price action on the day. Looking at the 15-minute time frame, this is gold. And I need to clean up this chart, but Nasdaq 100, these are the areas where you could have caught entries. I missed out on this because I didn't trust it. I wasn't on the chart for this one, and this was the one that I fumbled because of a stop placement and all that. And I really had to come up because we went so deep and I didn't get a chance to re-enter inside of this gap down here. So it is what it is, you know, it is what it is. So over here you could have redeemed yourself, but quite a number of areas where you could have caught some good change. But like it's a seek and destroy type of ping pong there. So you have to really be keen with your entries and your exits. So this was a trade that I should have caught, you know. Nice trade there. This was a nice little entry that I marked out. This was a nice entry. During London, you would have caught the lower day from here. This is a nice 4 hour open at the London open. If you caught this entry, then you would have been in this trade for the entirety of the day. I tried to buy here and I realized the predicament that I'm in, and that's why I exit, because the real entry was from here at around 9. You could have caught the entry on this order block right here. So we had a change in the state of delivery, push up, retest, nice entry outside of the macro, but still valid. You could have entered on any one of these candles, stops below here, and target these highs up here. So I'm sure even though we didn't get a liquidity sweep up here, but this was more than enough points that you could have made some decent money. 125, 120 points to here would have been enough before, and you could have partial along the way. So that was a good trade. The sell here as well was good. I wasn't confident in it. I saw another guy that I was watching take this sell on a live stream on YouTube when I just got in from work. So that was valid. But the best trade of the day was this buy right here and a continuation inside of this entry right here. So if I extend this across here, you see where we got 200 and change points there. The rest of the session kind of choppy. I saw this here, I was looking at a 1 hour and a 15-minute order block when I took this entry inside of the macro, but I knew the follow through wouldn't have been so great, being as we have the Jackson Hole Symposium and we were getting so close to the main open. And the main open, again, messy price action, but still valid opportunities. But later on, midday gave us the better opportunity in the main session. If you caught this entry down here, it would have been good, but I'm sure a lot of people got chopped up inside of here. And then our PM session gave us a nice entry. So we have a deeper Judas swing and the 4 hour coming all the way down here. But still, if you wait for the bullish change in the state of delivery, here or the inversion, you could have caught entries going back into the highs. So that is where we leave things this evening, wrapping up this trading day. And like I said, I'm not pushing this account too hard because I'm going to make it back out of drawdown and I'm going to get a payout of this. With the discipline and the system that I have in place, it should be fine. So, closing out this week green, not by much, still ways to go, but $200 green is better than nothing. It could have been 400 if I locked in the gains here, but hopefully tomorrow we get a next time, a next try. So that is where we leave things. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.